Hi guys, VST here with Tech. Today, Android Authority released a very interesting article titled The OnePlus Buyer's Guide, Everything You Need to Know About a Brand. And I read through it, I shared it with some friends, and I decided it's worth reading it through, or at least reading the most important passages. And of course, guys, give also my feedback and comments. I've been around since some time, and I remember when OnePlus started, and really things are different. Different means that it's not meant in a bad or in a good way. It's not really black and white. Things do evolve. So if you want to understand more about OnePlus, the history, who is behind OnePlus, what is kind of their policy and let's say their mission and strategy and vision, then you're more than welcome to stay with this video. Again, the original article is published by C. Scott Brown from the Android Authority, so all kudos and respect goes to him. Again, I'm just going to provide my comments on top of this. So let's start without any further ado. As early as 5 years ago, OnePlus was barely a blip on the radar to the general tech customer. Nowadays, the brand is becoming very well known as a global powerhouse in the smartphone industry, also starting to branch out to other technology markets. Absolutely correct. Now we know OnePlus also is created a TV, and they will probably expand and start to do more things, like not probably going the way Xiaomi went. They own a lot of other small businesses, and they produce pretty much everything from toothbrushes to clever shoes, TVs, and etc. Screwdrivers, you name it. You may have heard of OnePlus before, but know little about the brand. What's the company history? What products does it offer? What has made it so successful? This OnePlus Buyer Guide will help answer many of those questions, and even some others you might not have thought of yet. So I think, again, it's a very nice article, and that's why I want to do like a separate video on that one. Who is OnePlus? It is a Chinese technology company that mostly makes smartphones, and they have two co-founders. So we have Pete Lau, who is the CEO, who is actually shown in the picture above, and also Carl Pei, who is the director. They started the company in late 2013, and both Lau and Pei formerly worked for another Chinese technology brand called Oppo. And I remember this is very important. Oppo, it is a subsidiary of the BBK Electronics. So you have these big players, Xiaomi, who are producing Redmi, who are producing Pocophone, who are producing Mi. And then we have BBK Electronics, who apparently own Oppo and OnePlus. But although it might seem that the OnePlus will be a subsidiary of Oppo, both companies deny this. And actually this is quite an interesting fact, I believe. Instead, they each claim that the OnePlus acts as its own separate brand. However, because of their close connection and BBK overseeing both of them, OnePlus has access to various Oppo infrastructure. This means, of course, probably sourcing, for chips, materials, technology, innovation, and even R&D. Actually, it's here. This helps OnePlus create products cheaply, since it doesn't need to fully invest in its own research and development, manufacturing equipment, etc. And this might have been the case before probably OnePlus 7 Pro, which kind of elevated the price of the OnePlus phones, and also, fair to say, upped their game. So I would not really 100% agree with this statement. I have a friend who has the Oppo Find X2 Pro phone, and it's pretty much like a revamped OnePlus 8 Pro in the area of, let's say, the camera, new camera system, better camera system, customized sensor, hybrid optics, very nice, but lacks, let's say, wireless charging. As an example of this, OnePlus was founded in December 2013 and released its first smartphone 4 months later. I mean, you can just think it's too short, right? You cannot found a company, let's say today, in 4 months you already, you can go to the market. There is simply no way a company could do something like that without a significant assistance. 100% agree. OnePlus is its own separate electronics brand, but it's connected behind the scenes to much larger companies. And by the way, guys, we've seen this already in Xiaomi. Xiaomi said that Redmi is gonna get to be a brand of its own, so the Pocophone. But we all know, that they kind of go away together, right? So regardless of how OnePlus makes its products, the brand primary focus is on smartphones. Each year since 2015, it has released at least 2 new phones. In addition, they also release several mobile-focused products such as headphones, cases, and other accessories. headphones, for example, right? Right now it's very trendy. It's also created various applications and services for phones, such as the OnePlus Switch. An application that helps you move your phone data to the OnePlus device, and OnePlus Pay mobile wallet. Recently, the brand expanded. They expanded out of the smartphone space into other markets, and they released their first television, the OnePlus TV. It's also something Xiaomi has been doing since years. Now, very important question, guys. What does OnePlus has to offer, right? It all comes down to this, what can they do for us, and do they deserve us to pay the money, right? As stated earlier, OnePlus primarily creates Android smartphones, no kidding. In its early days, it was known for making high-powered phones with unique design elements and low price tags. We saw this in its first phone, the OnePlus One, which now has cult status, which had a starting cost of only $300. But as the brand attained more footing in the industry, they slowly raised the prices, and in 2020, its two flagship phones, the OnePlus 8 and the OnePlus 8 Pro, launched with much more traditional pricing. However, the OnePlus 8 starting price was almost $700 is still very competitive, especially when you consider the starting price of an S20 Samsung Galaxy. It's almost $1,000. But here we have to say that OnePlus 8 and OnePlus 8 Pro, actually it's all began with OnePlus 7 Pro, really they upped their game, and they almost were creating a flagship phone. Now, the only and ever first truly flagship phone from OnePlus is of course the OnePlus 8 Pro. And I know things like IP68 rating, wireless charging, all these things, they do matter, right? And I probably don't care about this like I do, but if you want to have a truly flagship phone, you need to add them there. And of course the prices now are really not so competitive compared to some other Chinese brands, but okay, it is what it is. They up their game, you need to pay if you want to get into the next level. OnePlus differentiates itself from the competition by approaching its design and software from a somewhat minimalistic perspective. We all know this is really Oxygen OS. The company's smartphones are always simple, elegant, and really focus heavily on usability. So Oxygen OS, honestly guys, I've been using the past years MIUI, came to use Oxygen OS, really love it. Frequently heralded as one of the best Android skins ever made. Now that's a huge debatable point. People that are up to programming or into programming will really hate the Oxygen OS because according to them, OnePlus took stock Android, break everything apart, right? Could be true, I'm not sure. I, as a user, am really very happy with the performance from Oxygen OS, right? The only thing very important that we should know, it has never been actually a stock Android, right? It has always been something else. But okay, it really looked like a stock Android, right? Display is usually based on how fast, smooth, and bloat-free the software is, and this also is debatable right now because we know they're including already some things like Facebook. Yeah, you can remove those using some commands directly from the ADB, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure if that's a true statement or not. OnePlus also fully embraced internet marketing and sales from the beginning. Almost all of its products are available directly from its website. In fact, this has been something I was not very fond of. When they first launched the OnePlus One, you had to get invitations, and I said, listen, that's too snobby. It was not really my thing, so I was not really up for that. Outside the phones, OnePlus also have other limited range of products. Let's not now discuss this, it's not a topic of the video. TV is also something we don't care. Now, very important guys, OnePlus phones, a breakdown of your options. Now, there are only two categories of smartphones on the OnePlus roster. They have the flagship numbered series and the Nord series. And actually this makes me laugh a little bit because Nord has been just released a couple of, probably even 2 months, less than 2 months. With the flagship series, there is a few subcategories that exist as riffs on the primary phone, and the Nord series focuses on the mid-range market and only has one device as of now, which is actually this one on the picture, the OnePlus Nord. Okay, now what about the flagships? If you are looking this video and you're trying to get yourself acquainted with all OnePlus lineups and want to buy a OnePlus phone, I think this article right now is for you. So usually OnePlus follow this release cycle. Each spring they release a new number flagship device. This year we have the 8 series, last year we had the 7 series, who knows, maybe next year we're gonna get the 9 series or directly the 10 series, who knows. And the number should continue to go up from there. Okay, with the iPhones, that's true. Since those are flagship phones from OnePlus, they really have top of the line specs, like always the latest Qualcomm Snapdragon chip. They get always the latest UFS storage, you get always the latest, DDR, RAM, etc. LPDDR, so it is true, right? Starting 2019 though, OnePlus started releasing Pro variants of its numbered series of flagship. So right now what we have is like the OnePlus 8, which is pretty much using, let's say, the sensor from last year, but the latest processor from Snapdragon, Qualcomm. So it's very nice, let's say, offering between both of two worlds. It still is a flagship, but not, let's say, a flagship. So as you might have guessed, the Pro variants up the end on the number flagship phones by offering better specs, some new features, other upgrades like bigger screen, even wireless charging. The OnePlus 8 doesn't have wireless charging, as to the OnePlus 8 Pro has it, which I think is a huge mistake. I wanted to see wireless charging also in the cheaper OnePlus 8, which I actually called the Little Pro. Because design-wise, the OnePlus 8 and the OnePlus 8 Pro are 1-to-1, not like the OnePlus 7 and the 7 Pro. Alright, also the article mentions here that it doesn't have the IP68 rating. Who cares about that one? The T variants, very important. 2016, OnePlus released the first T phone, which is the OnePlus 3T, which is probably one of the best smartphones produced by OnePlus. I know people that are using this since 2016, still very happy. This phone looks exactly like the one launched before, which is the OnePlus 3, but had a few spec upgrades. And then this started the trend of OnePlus refreshing its flagship phone line in the second half of the year. So let's say in the spring we had the OnePlus 8 and the OnePlus 8 Pro. And now in the autumn, we're gonna get the OnePlus 8T and the OnePlus 8T Pro. Some elevated specs, I'm not sure. Usually I would say, skip that one, go directly with the new series. It's just like the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6s, there are people that love like the clean version, and there are people that say no, there are some diseases usually with the first version that get fixed when they release the T series. It's up to you. I go with the latest. Note series, okay, Note series, don't want to speculate, don't want to speak about this. Not serious. I mean, you pretty much know if you want to buy a cheap phone from OnePlus, then you only have one option, and that's to buy the OnePlus Nord, which also has, let's say, a nice Snapdragon processor, of course, not from the very powerful 8000 series. It has 5G, it has a very nice Sony IMX586 sensor, which actually is the same that is also in the OnePlus 8. Okay, it has some selling points, right? Very important, and I think this is probably the last part here. What sets OnePlus apart from the competitors? Okay, the smartphone industry is pretty cutthroat. There are a lot of players on the field, and none of them create a very similar product. In fact, I think that's very well said. 100% agree. The only thing that differentiates is really how they touch the OS and what kind of like gimmicks or not so gimmicky tricks they put inside. So there is a lot of competition out there. It's really very hard to stand out. Okay, the things that make OnePlus unique is that they really want to give you something to be used in a very easy way. Is it going to be the same when Oxygen OS 11 is released? I don't know. We still have to see that one. But they have a very limited lineup, contrary, let's say, to Xiaomi, which produces 20-30 phones every year, right? OnePlus releases more smartphones each year in okay, they release now the T series, they release now also the Nord, but in fact they don't have, like to produce 20-30 devices. And also aggressive pricing, okay, worldwide availability, that's also another thing. And probably the best thing so far is the Oxygen OS. I mean, people really love it. I, for example, love it. Oxygen OS also was mentioned several times into this article here, okay? And without a doubt, Oxygen OS is one of the biggest reasons OnePlus fans stick with the brand. It's because it offers an editing experience that most other companies simply don't offer. The key differentiator between Oxygen OS and other skins like the MIUI is the company's minimalistic approach. Now that's debatable because according to people that already tried the Oxygen OS 11, and I really made a video about that, guys, it is gonna get a little bit more shiny, like, yeah, probably looking even like the one you have from Samsung. Yeah, we have to still see that one. Okay, OnePlus lets stock Android to do most of the work. I would say that's debatable because Oxygen OS was never really stock Android, but it mimicked it, alright? It looked like stock Android. Right, and in essence, Oxygen OS is just stock Android with new features. I 100% don't agree here with this statement, okay, but it's just me. Not only does it make Oxygen OS familiar and easily understood experience, but it keeps the operating system fast and smooth as well, and that's true, guys. I just want to say one thing. I owned the OnePlus 7 Pro, and this phone got 15 open Oxygen OS open beta versions. It never lagged for a second. I never reset that phone. It was a beast. Okay, and here there are some competitors you want to consider. I don't really go and just I'll skip this part, but the greatest moments in the OnePlus history, okay, when they launched the OnePlus One, and of course when they debuted the Oxygen OS, okay? So guys, I really hope that if you are looking to get some more information around OnePlus history, OnePlus lineup, mission, vision, or strategy, if you want to probably buy OnePlus device, this video is going to be helpful. I'm going to link, of course, the original article in my video description. Again, Mr. C. Scott Brown did a fantastic job. So handshake from me to this guy. Also kudos to Android Authority for putting there. I shared my opinion where I was not really 100% sure that that's correct, but of course it's a democratic world. I would love to hear what you want to say in the comments below. So if you have some questions, guys, or if you want to share your opinion, please do this in the comments below. And with that said, VST over and bye.